CJI 1. If you compete, you got $10,000.
Oh yeah, you got $10,001. This time you get $10,002. Inflation adjusted.
We have a big debate going on.
Oh yes.
You versus Mikey.
The guy they had on the grappling reality show had never had a no-gi match. Bro, what are you doing? You can sell out. Just own it. Don't pretend it's something else. Like even when I turned down their coaching role, I was with Jack Della for UFC Fight Week and I was immediately not in the embedded anymore. You know what I mean?
Cut him out.
And I want to ask him about Derek Moneyberg. How much does Derek Moneyberg pay you, Mikey Musumeci?
Oh, it's 15-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MoneyCast.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MoneyCast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game played directly from your phone. It's very simple. Get on your phone, go to the App Store, download PrizePicks. When you do that, use my promo code MIKEYCast. Cool promotion going on right now. You play $5 and you get $50 instantly in your lineup. And they got amazing things on the board. They got mixed martial arts, CSGO, and the NFL is back, baby. So lock in your picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is very simple to play. It's less or more. If you think this gentleman's gonna throw more than 75 yards, then you will go with more. If you don't think he's gonna get there, then you will go with less. Very simple. Lock it in at PrizePicks, the best place to make your picks. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring this episode of the MoneyCast. Now, let us enjoy this chat with the one and only Craig Jones. There he is.
What up? Can you guys hear me and stuff?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
Sick. I think we're recording on this too, maybe.
Perfect. And just when you talk to me, just look into the camera when you talk.
Oh wait, looking at this camera, yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the MoneyCast, and we have a very special guest on the podcast. We've been trying to get him for a very, very long time, but the man is busy. He was in, Russia, everywhere around the world, and now he's in California. No, actually, he's in Vegas getting ready for CGI 2. CJI, not CGI, CGI 2. Please welcome in the one and only Craig Jonesy. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. We finally connected. I feel like we've been trying to do this for like a year or so now.
Yeah, a year. I came out to Texas for B Team to grapple with Nicky Rod. You weren't there. You're out doing your own thing, but it's been a long time coming. Been a big fan of yours for a very, very long time. And I appreciate you taking the time to join us on the MoneyCast. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you probably spent more time at B Team than me in the last year, I reckon. Sadly, I was in the boys for a bit.
Well, you just dropped the video. I saw a video show up. It was you and not Nicky, J-Rod, and you're talking to him, and you're like, I've done more drugs than you've had water, today. How are you able to, I guess, keep up with these young athletes while, I guess you could say, you said it too, partying, traveling? Like, is it just embedded in your style just to, like, I always reference to like Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods was living that playboy lifestyle, banging hookers, doing all that stuff, he was shooting like a fucking champ. Then once he jumped on that clean arrow, just trying to be a good human, his game was to shit. Do you think you have that type of, syndrome going on?
I think it's mind games. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you really don't want to lose to a guy that's not prepared or not in good shape. It puts the pressure back on the opponent, So if I come in there and play mind games with him, tell him I've been on a bender, tell him I'm jet lagged, whatever, live that lifestyle, then yeah, I would say that like it messes with J-Rod's head because I don't think he's ever had a beer, So it's like, for me personally, that gives me a bit of a confidence, but it's also the big brother syndrome. When someone beats you up for enough years, it's so hard to overcome that last hurdle. So it's a little bit of mind games in there, I would say. But yeah, how do I stay alive? I don't know. If I check the blood pressure machine, it probably says I shouldn't be alive. But we're still here promoting CJI 2. We're going to go till the wheels fall off.
It's crazy because from what I hear, it's like, yeah, man, Craig Jones, he goes on these benders, he comes in the gym and works everybody. And I'm like, it must be his secret. It must be his secret sauce. That's why he's been able to be successful at beating all these people.
It's, I mean, it's probably the steroids, but they're probably, see, I like to think of it like if we take PEDs and then we also do extracurricular activities that bring us down, we actually aren't at a performance enhancing level. You know, it's an even playing field. So the steroids and the cocaine hit an equilibrium where I feel like I'm just a regular athlete. You know, we've got no edge there.
What's your favorite drug to take? I never done cocaine, but what's your favorite drug to take? I remember one time they showed a video, you went, and you looked at the video, and I was like, I don't know if you did or not, but out of all the drugs you've taken, what is your favorite drug to take?
Yeah, I mean, you told me off camera you love.
I don't fucking take. I have never taken. Everybody knows that. I'm too much of a pussy. Too much of a pussy to take.
What's my favorite? I mean, it depends on the crowd of people I'm hanging out with, what I would need with those people to get through the night. You know what I mean? Like, or if I'm tired. I mean, if we've had a bottle of tequila, we're going to need some nose beers to really kick back into gear and survive that night. Pre-match, sometimes pre-match, it give you a bit of a buzz. Like we were in Mexico City, I compete against Phil Rowe, and I was thinking like, in Machu Picchu, they chew the cocaine leaves to do with the altitude. And I was like, Mexico City's pretty high. Maybe we just have a bump. We'll go out there, we'll perform better, we'll deal with that altitude. But really, it just elevated my heart rate and I got tired pretty quick. So it's like, Phil also lied to me before that match. Phil was like, we should get drunk before and just have a flow roll. I was like, sick. And then I realized I was drinking and he was drinking water. So he pulled one over me in that one too.
Good for him. Okay, well, I want to go back to the beginning because, Craig, I don't know your story. Okay, the first time I've been introduced into the jiu-jitsu game after my mixed martial arts career. Once I stopped fighting, I was like, I need something else to do. So I jumped into the gi jiu-jitsu, and one of my professor goes, man, you should check out a guy named Craig Jones. He's hilarious. You know, he's been around for a very long time, but his popularity didn't get any bigger until he started saying jiu-jitsu was gay. And then he would tell me the skits you would do. But what got you into jiu-jitsu, right? I'll start me there because I feel a lot of people who come into jiu-jitsu now, they don't know Craig Jones's story.
I mean, to be honest, we've had a few too many beers over the course of this lifetime to accurately recall those early memories. But I would say 15 years old, watching the UFC with my older cousin at the time, who was like a 4-stripe white belt, and he just lured me down to class, and I really never stopped since. But I was training predominantly in the gi, maybe 2 to 3 times a week for maybe 5 years. And then I was sort of becoming more invested in it. I was mostly like a MMA fan that was just scared to get in their head. So I stuck with the jiu-jitsu side of things. I thought, obviously, again, enough brain damage with the drinking and extracurricular activities. But I went to America mainly as a tourist. Like I was like, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to compete in a couple of tournaments and party in Vegas and see how it goes. And I ended up winning, I think it was the IBJJF San Fran Open. And at the time I thought that was a big deal as a guy from Adelaide with a small team. So that actually gave me the push to go for it more professionally. I was just like, fuck, maybe I can have a career at this. And I didn't even know what that meant at the time because jiu-jitsu, you couldn't really make a career in. But I was like, fuck it, this seems like something I might be good at. We'll give it a good crack. But then I moved to Melbourne to train with Lachlan Giles. You know Lachlan? I
do not, I believe. I don't know who that is.
Lachlan is an Aussie, and I think it was just like he competed for maybe 18 years, and then he was in ADCC in the 77 kilo division. Sadly lost first round to Lucas Lepre, but then got bronze in the absolute with the same heel hook entry on Kainan, Muhammad Ali, and Patrick Gaudio. So that was my coach at the time. It was the guy we sort of started doing heel hooks together with. So he sort of had a big run at it, and then ultimately I joined the dark side and went to train with Danaher in America after that, or around that, a similar time. But in terms of, origin story, really just like right coaches, right time, right place, like sort of the right techniques. I would say like I sort of got my big break because no one was really training heel hooks at that time. And I figured I couldn't beat them at their own game. So we'd try and learn some tricks, some bullshit to try and catch these guys by surprise.
Well, typically, if you started in the gi, you really don't work heel hooks because you can't reap in the gi. And then now we hardly even see you in the gi. It's mostly no gi. Why not continue to, play in the gi and compete? I mean, obviously you're not going to be competing in the gi anytime soon, but why did you leave the gi and just went straight no gi?
I mean, really, I had no success in the gi. I'm trying to think at any of the major tournaments. And then when I would compete no gi, I would have more success. And at that time, gi was way more popular. But I saw like Metamoris, EBI, I saw this super fight style events that were gaining a lot of popularity. Obviously, ADCC was a huge accolade, even though it only occurred every 2 years. So I would say just due to my lack of success in the gi, I tossed it away. But also, fuck, it sucks traveling with the gi. You know what I mean? We're bringing, like, we're going on a training camp. Half the suitcase is full of the stupid kimono you have to wash. So like, no gi's a bit more convenient to travel, it's a bit more fun.
Got it. And then you say you transition over to Danahan's gym. You call it the dark side. Why did you call it the dark side? Because I felt they produce a lot of good athletes out of there, like a lot of good champions, and you know they're very known for their leg lock game, right? So why did you call it the dark side?
I mean, obviously Danaher's serial killer-esque persona comes across like that. I remember I used to think he was a Long Island serial killer for a period of time there, but they obviously ended up catching the guy. But I would say like in those early EBI days, Eddie Bravo's tournaments, Eddie Bravo obviously made this huge splash in no-gi, and then he wanted to continue sort of growing no-gi. He was the first guy that really started an affiliation network around the world that was no-gi only. So he had his tournaments. And at the time, no one really had much success in them except for the Danaher guys. And I was able to go in there and have a bit of a splash, but obviously you can't beat them, join them. So I ended up joining the team because I think truly was the best room in the world. Like you'd show up to like a 8 a.m. class in New York and there'd be like 100 people there. Damn. And at that time, 2018, 2019, like gi was still pretty dominant. So it was pretty hard to find a room of dedicated no-gi grapplers. So I kind of say I joined the dark side because they were beating me and I just gave in and joined them pretty much.
That's the true saying. If you can't beat them, join them. Fuck it. I want to learn that what they got in this. What's going on, guys? This episode of the MoneyCast is sponsored by Bear Mattress. Now, I've been sleeping on my Bear mattress for about maybe 5 to 6 months, and I'm absolutely loving it. The amazing thing about the Bear mattress is that it comes directly to your front door in a cardboard box. When you get that Bear mattress, you're gonna pull that bubble in the house, unpackage it, but do not take it out of the plastic bag. I made the mistake and I took it out of the plastic bag, inflated it in the living room. I had to carry that bad boy all the way upstairs. So don't be like me. Take that thing and put it in the room that you want to use the Bear mattress, whether it's a spare bedroom, guest bedroom, or your master bedroom. That's where I end up putting mine. But once you get to the master bedroom, you're gonna lay it out and then you're gonna cut it out of the plastic. Once you do that, it's going to inflate. And once it inflates, throw it down and you're gonna enjoy the best sleep that you're ever gonna have. And if you guys want to upgrade your mattress, all you gotta do is go to bearmattress.com/mighty. That's gonna help you save 40% on your mattress. 40% off, guys, on the mattress if you use promo code MIGHTY. And when you go to bearmattress.com, they're gonna have you take a little quiz. And that quiz is gonna ask you, how do you like to sleep? Are you a back, stomach, side sleeper? Your boy right here is a back sleeper. And then it's also gonna ask you, do you like firm, soft? And it's also gonna ask you, what type of firmness do you like? Do you like super firm? Do you like soft? Do you like medium? You're basically gonna take a quiz. And after you answer all of those questions, back to how you like to sleep, with your firmness, they're gonna point you in a direction which is gonna be the best mattress that's suited for you. And they even have a 120-day night sleep on that Bear mattress to ensure you love it. So go over to bearmattress.com/mighty, save 40% off. You can't get that much savings on the website alone unless you use my promo code, which is MIGHTY. Go there, take the sleep study, get yourself locked into the bed. You're gonna, if you're at the gym, training hard, you eating hard, but you ain't sleeping hard enough. Get a Bear mattress so you get that sleep where it needs to be. That way you can see the gains in the gym and you can start feeling amazing when you get back to work or if you're getting ready for the next competition. Shout out to Bear Mattress for sponsoring this episode of the MoneyCast. Now, let us get back to our guest. I hear a lot of people because I love gi more than no gi, and they're saying that not until a lot of the athletes join like Atos or what's the name, or AOJ, they don't become a world champion. Then once they join that gym, they become a world champion. So it's almost like you can't beat them, you join them.
For sure. I think like obviously that shit happens at MMA as well. I wanted to ask you though, your transition from MMA to jiu-jitsu.
Oh fuck.
How weird is the jiu-jitsu community?
What do you mean by weird? What do you mean by weird?
Just the bizarre characters that fill this world. Obviously, you're used to it in MMA, but I think the MMA bravado and stuff's a bit different. Obviously, I'm repping the keep jiu-jitsu gay stuff, so like, without question, I'm a bit out there. But
I think the jiu-jitsu community is a lot more chilled than MMA, to be honest with you, just because I do more gi, so I feel like there's more respect. And given my background, when I go to different gyms, everyone wants to try to knock me out and prove they're better than me. You know what I mean? So I feel
like J-Rod coming for the kill against you. You know what I mean?
Well, J-Rod, but see, J-Rod's very, like when I was at the gym at B Team, they know I'm way smaller. I think J-Rod's like what, 190? Probably 190.
I think 200 now. Even.
200, yeah. So I think he probably could have destroyed me a lot more than he did, right? So he was very playful. Same with Nicky Rod. Same with J-Dog. Like those guys were all playful because I train mostly in the gi. So when I go no gi, I have to wrestle more. I have to come up. I'm not looking for my lapel, my sleeves, or the pant grip. So for me, I feel like my time in the jiu-jitsu community has been pretty much fucking chill. Like I said, mostly I'm in the gi. When I'm in like the MMA community, dude, you going around with some people who got money, you got these guys I'm trying to make in the UFC, and then they're like, oh, it's different. I feel in jiu-jitsu, there's not a lot of money in it, right? Like we'll talk about that later in the show. There's not a lot of money in it. In MMA, athletes are designed to hate each other, right? Because if I'm about to fight this guy or this guy is in a division I'm in and he gets a brand new sponsor, I'm like, why the fuck did I get that sponsor? I'm better than him. I have more followers than him. I want to beat his ass, so I get that same sponsor. So the community is a little bit different because there's more at stake when it comes to winning and losing, essentially. That's how I feel from my position being in mixed martial arts. I've never trained with a big, massive team. My team was like a bunch of hobbyists and a couple pros. If you go to American Top Team, or if you go to like Syndicate, or if you go to, Extreme Couture, or if you go to B Team, you have all those guys that are fucking killers, are trying to be the best in the world. At my gym, it was just me, Karos, James. This guy works as a financial advisor. This guy's he works at Microsoft. This guy works at Boeing. That was my team. So that's why I say, I felt jiu-jitsu is more chill because we're all just hobbyists. MMA, when I travel, it was like, oh, there's Demetrious Johnson, pound for pound best fighter in the world. I'm going to see if I can smoke. I'm like, I'm fucking 38. I don't spar anymore. So a little bit different. I would say a lot different.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Like when I do seminars and stuff, people come for me and I'm hungover, jet lagged, haven't been training and stuff. They come for the kill consistently. But your gi jiu-jitsu, I want to know why you turned down the Gabi Garcia match in the gi.
Dude, she's too big. This chocolate body cannot be tampered. I don't want her smashing me. She almost had you. Even after you took that swig of whiskey, I was like, I don't want none of those problems. I don't want it at all.
I don't believe there is such thing as a woman that's too big, in my opinion. But obviously, I think I'll put my money on you in that one. Hey.
I mean, I think I think I'll probably get her in no gi. I gotta wait till she gets tired. Probably go underneath her, elevate her. Try to go for her feet. I didn't want to. I don't want to fight one of the legends of the game. I didn't want to do that.
Do you think it would have been tough because of the intimate closeness nature of it? I
don't know.
Your mind would have been elsewhere.
I don't know, man. Like I think it would have been tough just because she's big. She's big. She's a big girl. I think people don't realize how small I am. I'm 5'3", right? 5'3", 147 pounds. And then when they get next to me, they're like, holy shit, you are small. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's okay. I pack a punch, a real big punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say you're packing something else. But
I'm packing that too, but it has a big punch to it.
Yeah, you need that for Gabi. I certainly did.
Okay, let's talk about CJI. Okay, why did you do CJI? Right, the first one was amazing because, like I said, I'm still new to the scene. I got to see a lot of amazing matches. The Tackett brothers, Levi Jones, he's probably one of my favorite guys to watch when he does compete. Obviously, I know about the Rotolo brothers. I mean, that's the first time I saw Nicky Rod compete. A lot of those guys, that was the very first time I have ever seen them compete. And it was a fucking amazing show. But why did you do it? Because I felt like you, in my line of work, were very selfish athletes, right? Like for you to go out of your way to create a tournament, to give other athletes in the sport that you're in, to win $1 million is fucking unheard of. Like, you would never see me or John Jones or GSP or anybody else. I mean, you might see Habib. Habib has his Eagle MMA over in Russia, but you would never see somebody create a tournament. It was like, hey, I'm gonna give you guys the opportunity to win $1 million. ADCC ain't doing it. IBJJF ain't fucking doing it. BJJ Stars ain't doing it. But you know what? Craig Jones, the savior of jiu-jitsu, is gonna do it. Why did you do it?
I mean, obviously some people would call me the savior, but nah, I mean, like, it's the same energy of joining Danaher's team, you know? If you can't beat him, join him. If you can't win the ADCC, just overthrow its legacy, you know, create something new in its place. Obviously, selfishly name it after myself. But really, I would say, yeah, it started for the financial complaints I had against the event growing, but the purse not growing, but also just pure pettiness. Like, I feuded with the guy that ran it at the time, Mo. Somehow, by some miracle, we're friends again now. But yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing what you can do as a petty human being, you know? Like, if you want to do good in the world, you might be able to pull off a 12-hour day, but if you were fighting against an enemy on a petty level, we can pull those 16, 20-hour days. So really, like, it was a means to an end of like signifying that, hey, we should be getting paid more, like if you were selling out these arenas, and like a good balance of petty personal feud in there too. But it was a very lucky thing because like I was trying to make a protest, partly because I didn't think I could win the ADCC that year. I thought I was my time was up. But I was trying to make sort of a semi-protest and be like, listen, I'll run a seminar the same week as ADCC, and I'll take that money to pay the day one losers. Because in ADCC, you only get paid if you make it to day two. And I think it was $1,000 for fourth place, building up to $10,000 for first prize. So I was kind of thinking like, if I ran a big enough event and paid those day one losers show money, they might get paid more than the guys that make day two. And I thought that would just be hilarious. And then there's this rich, anonymous friend of mine that I pitched the idea to. And he was just like, why don't you just run an event the same day, you know, same city, same time as ADCC? And he's like, I'll just give you the money to do it, to just enjoy the disruption nature of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess it's like if you have money, that would be a fun thing to do, help your friends sort of destabilize an industry. So I think that's sort of where it started. But yeah, it is a lot of work though. It killed me. That first one was brutal. The first one was really brutal because obviously ADCC is like the Olympics to these guys. So $1 million is a lot of money. Like, first and foremost, we had to be able to prove that we had the money. That's why I was sort of, when I went on Rogan, I dumped the bag of cash out. And that cash was just some random dude. Like, I thought it'd be easy to get $1 million out, but banks don't want to give away $1 million. So this was just another dude I'd never met before that was just like, I can get $1 million out of the bank. He's like, forget about a prop, bring a real million in. So that was kind of my way of proving to the athletes that we had the money. Because I thought for sure Joe would look at it and be like, oh, this is fake, and it'd fuck up my whole tournament. So I really wanted to have the real cash on hand. But in retrospect, I should have just taken the million for myself from that guy and disappeared at the time. But really building up to that event, I think we just wanted to showcase we could put on, jiu-jitsu could be displayed in a way that was exciting. So obviously we borrowed the 10-point must system. We wanted the open scoring so you kind of knew where you were at. And I like the rounds because, like, as you know, in a jiu-jitsu tournament, you might take a guy's back early. And if you have the gas tank of me, I'm looking at that clock thinking, if I just hold on, I win. You know, but if we have that round system in place, you're forced to reset at the end of each round. So it's going to drive people to finish before the round ends. And then obviously I did karate combat in the pit. So we kind of blackmailed them, stole the idea, and then came to an agreement in the end to be able to use the pit, because the pit is like accidental genius, I think. Like, it obviously looks sick. It has that 80s action movie aesthetic, but I think it's best suited for grappling, because one of the biggest problems in grappling is the resets.
Yep.
Like sometimes an ADCC match should be reset that many times. A 10-minute regulation period might be like 16 minutes. So I wanted to not do something like wrestling with push outs or like heavily penalizing people, which is kind of open to discretion. And I didn't want to use the cage because I think like guys are so good at just staying vertical and defensive on the cage.
Yep.
Like they've kind of figured out that aspect of it. And I thought if we put on an event and we used the cage, it would be so damn boring if we just took a bunch of jiu-jitsu guys that don't know how to fence wrestle and they ended up just fence wrestling the whole time, and then it would be hard to score. But with the pit, as you back up, it kind of, that angle means that you're so easy to take down. Like if you tried to sprawl your feet to get hit in the corner and you'd be taken down anyway. So I wanted to punish people and cancel the reset. So that's why we use the pit. I think just the pit and the round system, and also the fact that we did open scoring is what forced a lot of exciting matches. And it was very like, obviously CJI one had some of the better moments. Like obviously again, Gabi Garcia, she's been booed her whole career for just being so big. And people are like, oh, who's this giant woman just beating up all these girls? And they really didn't give her a lot of celebration, I would say. So to see her lean into that nature of kind of who she is and what she represents, you know, like on a impulsive sort of level, and then to join in on the joke with me and then actually fight me, and then the crowd actually turned from booing her to loving her. So moments like that made it special. Giving away $1 million does suck though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, that's a painful experience, especially if you give it away and you're like, I know this idiot is going to waste this money. You know what I mean? Like, obviously I'd waste it, but it's different giving it to someone else to waste. But really, the purpose of CJI 1 was to just prove a point that we could do it better. Purpose of CJI 2 is to demonstrate what I think is the most exciting format for grappling. So like, have you looked into how we're sort of running this next one?
How about, yeah, it's team-based. It's a team-based one where you have certain teams. You have Australia, do you have a Brazil team or?
Now we got like Americas, the Australia and Asia region. We got Europe and UK. And then we got sort of like 5 real teams: Atos, 10th Planet, New Wave, B team, and Daisy Fresh. Fuck. Every time I do that, I think I'm going to forget a team name and they'll be super salty about it. And then we secured those. Obviously, me representing B team and New Wave have had this long feud, so it's very hard, I would say, to get them on board. Like, no one from New Wave participated in CJI 1. Yep. And I really wanted them to be a part of CJI 2, but like, CJI 1, we kind of wanted to show who the 2 best athletes in the world were at those weight divisions. And this one is like, every time you go to an IBJJF and they're giving out teams trophies and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But what about we pick 2 of the best teams and we go, your 5 best versus my 5 best, almost like wrestling meet style. Yep. But I wanted to use the quintet rule set because it's winner stays. Like if you submit a dude, you're stuck out there in the center. Oh, and I really enjoyed that aspect of quintet. Like quintet has it so 2 teams of 5, total weight has to be under a certain amount. And then you can sort of like feel you could have a way bigger guy and a couple smaller guys, or you could balance it across the board. But in an effort to sort of prove who's actually the best team in the world, I think it's like, let's pick our 5 ADCC weight class representatives and we'll have them slug it out. The other thing we changed from quintet bans heel hooks.
I think that's good. I think heel hooks should be banned. Just
a gi guy and an MMA fighter would say that. Yeah. They hate heel hooks the most.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MoneyCast is sponsored by Raycon. Now, Raycon is your everyday earbud that has some amazing sound quality, and it even has the noise cancellation in them. This is your everyday traveling case for your Raycon earbuds. Now, I like it's a very sleek design. It charges your earbuds when it's in there. You got the right and the left. And then if you want to protect this case, you can also buy the protective Raycon case cover. That way, if you do drop this, it's not gonna damage your Raycon case. The new version of the Raycon earbuds has a noise cancellation built in them. So the older version did it, the new version, they listened to the consumers and they got the noise cancellation in there. And when I'm about to use my Raycons, I pull them right out of the case, slap these bad boys right in my ears, and I'm ready to engage in the conversation. The thumbnail's great. The thumbnail is great. I agree with you. Now I want to switch some things around. I think it'd be better if we go doing it this way and see what's going on. Huh? See how they don't fly in my ears like that? They just stay in there. Even I have cauliflower ear, and that's why I choose Raycon to fit in my ears to make sure I don't miss a beat when I'm having a conversation with my producers. Get Raycon. Go to buyraycon.com/mighty15x in order to save 20% on your order. Now, let us get back to the Mighty Cast with Craig Jones. So in quintet, heel hooks are banned. I agree. I think heel hooks should be banned. Reason why, okay, is because when I was training MMA, I've seen Matt get his ACL tore very, very quick. It was an accident. He was never the same. You see guys, it's like, I'm 38. If I go to competition and a motherfucker heel hooks me, tears my ACL, MCL, LCL, whatever it may be, I can't play football with Tyron. I can't play football with Tanith and my kids. And I'm all like, for a fucking heel hook. I feel there's so many other ways. Knee bar, toe hold, arm bar, rear naked choke, triangle. There's so many other ways to take somebody out besides a heel hook. And that's one of the things why I don't like about no-gi grapplers, because it's all fucking, he pulled guard and it's all about the heel, and I'm just like, here we fucking go. Then, Tyratolo, when he fought Levi Jones, he tore his ACL, he tore his knee, but it wasn't with a heel hook, but they're entangling their leg lock. So for me, really, can we heel hooks are banned? You guys all fucking, I feel there's more ways to bake that cake besides you take out the heel hook, right? So continue. I don't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to get out why I hate heel hooks.
I feel it. I feel that IBGF energy over there. But heel hooks are great. It's a great way for a small guy to be a bigger guy. So it's like, I feel like it's say my coach Lachlan Giles, he hit 3 heel hooks, and one of those dudes was massive, huge weight advantage. I feel like it's tough to submit a bigger guy. They got those big feet, we go for them, you know what I mean? But for the nature of this quintet style 5 versus 5 event, the heel hook's a great way. You could run a whole team with a heel hook.
Of course.
A lot easier than other submissions. I'm a bit nervous though about, because if you tap, so the way it's gonna work is quintet, your order would be prearranged and you couldn't change it. So these 5 are prearranged and these 5 are prearranged. The way we're doing it, so we're going to send the coaches out and they basically call in and they'll be like, match 1, send in such and such. And it'll be like a Royal Rumble style reveal. The other coach will, for the first matches, they'll sort of be pre-picked. So you won't get to base it off the opponent. But let's say your guy goes out and gets submitted. He then has a 30-second timer to say who he wants to send in next from the back, so that everyone will be like, who's coming? You know what I mean, even the athlete will be like, who am I about to face next? But the scary nature of that is it's obviously you're trying to run out a whole team. So if your 3 eliminate those 5, I think there's going to be a lot of guys. You got 8 minutes, 1 8-minute regulation period. If there's no submission, you're both out.
Okay, hold the fuck up, because I'm basically going through my mind right now thinking about, because I know you got some fucking killers on the roster. You just announced Fabricio Andrade. You also have Mika Gavola. So let's just play how this goes. You have Mika Gavola out there. Mika beats a whole fucking team, just wipes out B team. Right, I'm not sure who's on each team.
Whoa, nah.
Well, I'm just throwing out. Okay, he just knocks out whole Daisy Fresh, right? Daisy Fresh is out. Mika's still standing there, and then you guys are like, all right, Team New Wave, you're up first. We're sitting out, Nicky Rod, so you could potentially see Nicky Rod versus Mika.
Yeah, for sure. It could be any weight division versus, and that's the way the coaches will have to strategize it. So yeah, say it's New Wave and B team are up. it'll be Danaher and his former student, Nicky Ryan, which is some serious energy there. And they'll both pre-select their first athlete and they'll both walk out. And then let's say Nicky Ryan's guy wins. Danaher has 30 seconds to select who he thinks can now beat the guy that just submitted his guy. So you'll see a lot of the coaching angle take place there, but you also see the size. It's like, do you send out the smaller guy first or do you send out the bigger guy first? We could have 66 kilos versus 130 kilos.
Wow.
That could be match one. But it also adds that layer of like, if the big guy's out there gets a sub, he's going to be tired after that. You've only got 90 seconds between each match, but the coach has 30 seconds to decide. So I think it'll add this crazy suspense layer, but also a danger layer. Because imagine you're out there and you are in a heel hook, 15 seconds to go. If you survive, you're both eliminated. If you tap,
damn,
that puts that other team at a huge, huge advantage. But 8 teams, the winning teams will fight twice on the first day, twice on the second day.
Wow.
And it'll be interesting to see, like, if you take a break, if you're injured and you can't go on, there's no replacement. Now your team proceeds with 4 people.
Damn. And you said if nobody, so there's no point system, right? Because you just said if nobody taps. So if you have, me, you are fighting, and the time goes out, we're both fucking out, and then the tournament keeps continuing. The teams have to bring out another person to fight.
Another person. And yeah, I think just given the weight differences, there'll be very few situations where there's 5 draws. Well, 5 double eliminations. Technically not a draw, because we'll still have 3 judges scoring the same criteria as CJI 1, but it won't be public. So it'll be like a UFC title fight. If there's 5 double eliminations, then we'll do judge 1 scores at 50-45 for New Wave. So it'll still, it's kind of like, it'll appear to be a draw, but it'll still be scored.
But that team, that team who was more effective or more, let's say they're both, it's all draws, but this person was pushing for the submission. This person had better positioning and he had the bat and he was the back and he was working more. Okay, we're going to give that team, they scored it. They competed better, so they go to the next round instead of having both teams out. And then it's like, okay, now we lost 2 teams instead of just 1.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So someone will still proceed, but like, I think it'll be tough. I think there's always going to be a sub. I'm hoping there'll be no decisions. I mean, unless like the weight divisions like match up pretty well, Yeah. But I really think like, say you send in 2 66ers, one guy submits the other guy, the next coach is going to be like, send in our biggest man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Get that fucking guy out of there now. Go. Yeah. And then, then the bigger guy should beat the smaller guy, because that's all, based on like, oh, well, jiu-jitsu is supposed to give you the opportunity to compete. Well, if you have the skill set, you can be able to compete with a bigger man. As if it's mixed martial arts, it's not really going to happen. So then eventually, let's say you have the team, only one person's left, that whole team. So let's say they go back and forth. New Wave only has one person who survives. Then they fight a different team. Does everybody else get the opportunity to fight again? Or is it, nope?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So it resets.
It's like reset. Like,
that's fucking
Quintet
sick.
is the origin of the rule set. And they would say Quintet would mostly just do 4-team tournaments over one night. But let's say you selected your 5-person lineup and your 3 guys took out a team of 5. Then the first 2 guys you have to send out, the order you have to send out, you can change up 4 and 5, but either 4 and 5 has to go first and second.
Okay, good.
But this one, if you really wanted to, like, we've obviously given Mika Gav out a New Wave. Like, Mika could run a whole team, and then you could be like, Mika, brother, you going back out there? Yeah, it could be really anything you want, but like, I think it'll be a very dangerous game of like little guys trying not to get submitted by the big guy. And I'm just like, hopefully you don't get hurt. Quintet, if there's a certain size discrepancy, you can elect to do 4 minutes. But I thought, fuck those little guys. They can do 8 for hours. So I was like, have some more finishes.
Well, that's fucking sick, because I didn't know too much about how, because I like the first format, right? A CJI 1, because it was like, hey, you had below this division and above this division, right? And you have all the guys fight for $1 million. The main event at the lower division, Cade Bertolo taking on Levi was absolute fucking banger. And then you had Nicky Rod. He was just destroying everybody. And then they both won $1 million. I was like, okay, that's pretty dope. But with this one, with the team aspect of it, I was like, man, me and my producer were like, man, I don't know how it's going to go. But hearing how it's going to be played out, like, and the fact that you got some fucking killers. Like, I wanted to see Mika compete in CJI 1, but he chose ADCC, right? I can't remember if Gordon Ryan did ADCC last year, but I'd love to see him compete at CJI. There's so many guys in jiu-jitsu that you want to see them compete. Obviously, this year, we won't have the Tacker brothers because of, the UFC. You won't have Cade Bertolo or Ty Bertolo because they're focused on mixed martial arts. And the fact that we get to see Mika and, Fabricio Andrade and all the other killers, like, I would love to see Baby Shark if he was to join it. I mean, there's so many fucking good jiu-jitsu guys out there that you never get the opportunity to see. But a potential match between Mika and fucking, what's his name? Nicky Rod or Fabricio Andrade fight. I mean, it's going to be fucking banger after fucking banger.
It's just going to be, it's chaos. Like, the quintet events are so crazy because, like, even as an athlete, like, typically when you compete in jiu-jitsu, like, you're representing a team.
Yep.
You feel that. But when you're competing and it directly affects your teammate sort of vibe, like, it adds another layer of energy to this. And I think, like, in quintet, you would know, you would be sitting on the sidelines, it'd be hard to warm up. You'd be mat side. But we're doing it like Royal Rumble style.
Yeah,
so
we're just going to run out.
Yeah, they'll run out. So I think it'd be crazy. It's like, as an athlete, like, if you just won your match, you've submitted the guy, you're immediately like, holy shit, who's next? Quintet, you'd know who's next. This one, no one will know. That reveal, like, the athlete that's competing, that's just won, is going to find out at the exact same time as the crowd and the people watching at home. So it's going to be it's going to be chaos.
It's going to be fucking sick. Well, I want to ask you something. You have been, doing this media tour for CJI 2, and I heard you say one thing, like, after CJI 2, you're leaving America, you're disappearing, you're leaving. Why are you leaving us? You're giving us all this good content. The YouTube channel's banging. You're out there in your underwear, you got the pink hair, you're getting tattoos and shit, and now you're just going to leave. Why are you going to do that to us, huh?
I don't know. We're going to just vanish for a while. You know what I mean? Like, disappear. See, like, for example, I was quite happy to just have left it at CJI 1 because I thought, like, bang, it was a banger event. It's hard to top.
Yeah.
I think the nature of CJI 2 in the teams format it will prove to be a much more exciting format. So I think I will have gifted the community the best rule set. And I think it's the best rule set because the UFC copied it. And then I've kind of adapted the quintet rule set. And I think that'll be the most entertaining. And it's like, I don't really want to reappear for a CJI 3 unless we can do something even bigger again. Like, because I think if you end up in this loop of, like, the next event's not more exciting, I don't know. It's a lot of work for ultimately what could be a letdown. I think going into CJI 2, I thought it would be easier because we'd already proved it. CJI 1 was 3 months. We had 3 months to basically put it together. It worked out. Luckily, the athletes were easy to deal with. You're like, bang, $1 million.
Yep.
They probably make $20K a year. They're like, I'm in. They'll sacrifice everything. For this one, we did $1 million total prize pool, and we had to convince these teams. I thought it would be easy. I'd be like, yo, this is the coach, and everyone would be jumping at the bit to get in there. But everyone just wanted to be a part of the winning team. You know what I mean? They're kind of like, they're like, I'll compete if I can be on X team and stuff like that. So that part proved challenging. So I think CJI 2 has been a lot more challenging. So I want to disappear for a bit, have a bit of a break from the marketing side of things. And if I think we can come back and do something bigger and better, we'll do it. But it's like, obviously, like, because I have to face Gable. So at the same time, we're trying to promote the event because I feel like for the most part, I mean, even in MMA, a lot of guys aren't that good at promoting themselves.
Yeah, we're not.
In the event. So I'm like carrying the burden of the event. Like, it's really hard to get guys to promote. So, and then to have to train at the same time. And Gable Stevenson's, a lot of people are taking him pretty lightly in this. They're like, oh, he's never grappled before. I'm like, oh, he's 265 pounds Olympic gold medal wrestler. It's like, it's a lot to balance. So I think I'll just need to be like, for at least a few years, maybe not.
Yeah, that don't do a few years. No. Because I never forget when you dropped that content of you, saying like, hey, what does somebody do when you cannot win a title? So you're the second best athlete in the world, and then you have that trailer, and then you're in a nightclub, and you had your glasses on, you had your buddy there, and it had the music, and it was like a 80s vibe, and I was like, all right, sign me up. It felt like watching American Pie when I was like, all right, I'm Shermanator. And I'm like, all right, this is sophisticated man sent back from the future to change everybody's life in jiu-jitsu. So I love the content. The content is amazing, but I can understand how promoting an amazing event and then also getting yourself ready to compete. But that's why they're calling you the savior of jiu-jitsu. Right? Like, you're giving these guys an opportunity. From my understanding, there hasn't been another tournament or another athlete that's ever made $1 million when they competed. Right? Nobody has ever done that, right? Or this one. Well, the athletes, if you compete at all, because I remember last year at CJI 1, if you competed, you got $10,000, which was the winning prize at ADCC.
Yeah, you got $10,001. This time you get $10,002. Inflation adjusted. Yeah, we bumped it up. There were a lot of petty decisions made in that first one.
Yeah. So everybody who's competing in CJI 2 is listening to get $10,002. And
$2 to show up. Yeah.
You see, that's like, and why do you think? Okay, we're gonna transition, right? Amazing fucking event. I cannot wait for CJI 2. Boys, make sure you guys fucking watch it. It'll be on YouTube. It's gonna be on B Team, right? B Team.
Yeah, that's the thing. Free on YouTube. You know what I mean? Another example of me being an absolute idiot. Like, obviously we could have sold the streaming rights. Probably, given what I know about what some events in grappling have sold for. Yeah. We could have sold that for a fair chunk of change. But instead, live and free on YouTube. Yeah. Mainly to grow the sport. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I feel like if we're doing these rule-changing events, game-changing styles, it's like, I want to gift that free, to get as many eyes on it as possible so that we can hook them. You know what I mean? Like, any paywall, people are like, they're like, too difficult.
How can I work around that paywall and just stream it for free? Okay.
It'll still be on crack streams. It's free on YouTube, but they'll still put it on crack. They'll still illegally stream it.
Yeah, they always do. What's going on, guys? This episode of the MoneyCast is sponsored by First Form. Right here is the First Form Whey Protein Level 1. I can take this after I get done training. The whey protein is top notch. The best way to describe how they process their protein, I always think of it of a chicken in a crock pot. When you cook it very nice and slow, it is able to be absorbed by the body. It's not burnt, it's not overdone. That's what they do with the whey protein. When they cook it, it is cooked very slow, and they're able to package it in this beautiful container. And then also I have the creatine. If you guys don't know much about creatine, creatine is one of the most studied supplement on the market. The best way to describe what creatine does for you, it basically gives your muscle, it forces your body to put more water inside your muscle, so that way you're able to work out longer, and the recovery is absolutely important as well. So when I get up from a long day of training, I'll take a scoop of this and a scoop of the creatine, shake that bad boy up, and bottles up. You guys can upgrade your creatine and your protein. All you gotta do is go to firstform.com/mightycast, and that's gonna get you guys hooked up. And anything over $100, if you're purchasing something that's over $100, it is free shipping. And there's a 30-day try period. If you guys don't like it within the 30 day, you'll get a 100% refund back. But I guarantee you guys are gonna love First Form, because I love it, and I've been a First Form athlete for 2 years. Shout out to First Form for sponsoring this episode of the MoneyCast. Now, let us get back to our guest. Okay, why give it away for free? I mean, I kind of all over the place, but forget that. I understand. Let's talk about the Mikey and you and the UFC coming into not mixed martial arts, but into jiu-jitsu. Here's my thing. I feel you are changing the game with jiu-jitsu. You're giving athletes the opportunity to make a lot of money, right? And now I just brought back my next question. Why isn't there no money in jiu-jitsu, right? How come you can win all these belts and titles and presumably those athletes seem broke, right? Lately you've been seeing a lot of athletes post on Instagram saying, like, you think that once you become a world champion, you think that you make all this money, but the first thing a sponsor or a business wants to know, what's your following? What's your social media? What's your brand, right? Why do you think there's no money in jiu-jitsu?
I mean, I honestly think there's not even a lot of money in MMA. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like at the very top, there's a ton of money, but like, I think it just all depends on your ability to market yourself. Like, I remember Jimmy Pedro talking about judo, and he was just like trying to say, how do you make judo exciting? And it's like, you need a narrative, you need a story. You know, like every time the Olympics is on, people are invested in that story because your local athletes, like as an Australian, people are like, you'll get hooked into, oh, it's an Australian athlete, it's the Olympics. Like there's some sort of storyline to it. Like fighting is, generally speaking, pretty entertaining. Like MMA, like I know, like I would consider like grappling just a lower risk, there's less at stakes form of combat sports. So like it's harder to hook people into it. But if you can create a storyline, you can get people to watch just about anything. You know, like obviously if I turn on and watch an MMA fight and I don't really know anything about the guys,
you're not going to care as much.
Yeah, and it's not that exciting. I'm not that invested. If it's two unknown dudes that are having a banger matchup, obviously you suddenly become invested. But if there's an intense storyline to it, you're still invested in that fight, whether not much is happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's just building narrative. So like CJI one, we were able to build a narrative of a like CJI versus ADCC.
Yes.
Who's the best athlete in the world? $1 million, like all these things. So I think people just have a lot of trouble marketing themselves. Like, it's like, you've got to give people a reason to care. So like, obviously Mikey Musumeci's brand is built around autism. People are invested in that. Like for me personally, it's obviously the chaos that I bring. Gordon's brand is winning and being an asshole, you know? So like people have to pick their field and lean into that character, and it'll hook people into watching. And that's why, like, I think I've found success. Like Mikey's obviously won a ton of things. Gordon's won a ton of things. I've won nothing. Yep. But with the right marketing approach, people will become invested in your story. So it's like, I think there's not a lot of money in grappling because it's just hard. You take a bunch of guys that express themselves through grappling, their verbal communication skills are pretty much non-existent. So it's like, how do you get that guy to be both good at grappling and being able to tell a story that fans will engage with? You know, sometimes it happens inadvertently where there's like a crazy, like say for example, Cade Rotolo, Andrew Tackett. If you just put that on YouTube, like you just tuned in and that happened to be the match, you were like, oh, what's this grappling event on? Yep. And that was the one you watched. Even if you knew nothing about them, suddenly you're invested in them and it sells itself. They could just announce a rematch and do no interviews. It sells itself. Yep. So I think that's pretty much the difficulty in grappling, is that it's like, the more boring something is most of the time, the better the story has to be to get people to tune in. Whereas fight, like in MMA, I feel like obviously more money because there's more at stake. There's more, I don't know, like, you know, you're watching someone put a lot on the line in that scenario, you know? Yeah, yeah. I was curious about that because that's one thing, like when you came out, like I said, I'm new to grappling at the time I started following it more. And so when I looked at ADCC and they're like, oh, the winner gets $10,000, like, that's fucking it? I was like, that motherfucking ADCC, from my understanding, has been around forever. Forever. I think when me and the producer are doing, I think it's been around since 1993 or 1997. I remember it's I think late 90s. Late 90s. And I'm like, and the prize money hasn't improved at all. I'm like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. $10,000, you can make more working at fucking McDonald's, and within like 4 months, and you could just be serving up French fries and make more than $10,000. So when you came out, I was like, okay, we're going to fucking, if you join a tournament, you're going to get $10,000. So you're already beat out. And at the end of the day, I understand it's about titles. It's understand about that. It's about legacy. But like Floyd Mayweather says, legacy doesn't pay bills, right? What pays bills is actual making money. So when I saw that, I was like, why does that ADCC from 1997, I don't even know what the payout was in 1997, but from 1997 all the way to 2024, it's only $10,000. I was kind of confused, and it kind of made me go down that path of like, fuck, why is there no money in jiu-jitsu? You guys are the best athletes. Like, gi jiu-jitsu is so much fucking harder. And then I'm like, how come no one in IBJJF makes so money? And I started asking, I was like, what does an IBJJF pro 18 to 30, what does he make if he wins Pan Ams or if he wins Worlds? And they're like, 1,000, 2,000. I was like, yeah, that's not even fucking worth it. I was like, you're the best athlete in the world. And that's what got me down that tunnel. I was like, why is there no money in jiu-jitsu, right? And then
not everybody can have a story, right? They just can't. Like even when I fight in mixed martial arts, I didn't really have a story. I was your fucking blue collar guy. I'd win, throw something in the air, submit them in an armbar. On Monday, I'm back home pressure washing the fucking fence. Nobody cared about the blue collar worker, right? But then you had other characters that weren't as good, but they made more money than me. So it's that kind of that struggle I've always had where I scratch my head. I was like, how come these guys aren't making money in a sport where it is sold out? There's so many athletes out there and they come on with a $2,000 check. It never made sense for me unless they're getting sponsors. But even then, the sponsors were paying a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's based on an old business model. I think like the Gracie family was really smart in that jiu-jitsu is expensive by most standards around the world. To participate in jiu-jitsu is expensive. Like most people won't casually pay for judo, or if they casually do boxing and stuff, like obviously private lessons and stuff in boxing, the money can run up. But like the Gracie family made a smart business model in terms of how they created gyms. And even the belt system is just like it's a way to hook you in, invest you into this journey to get to black belt, which is an expensive journey. But so like their business model was that you'd make money off of these gyms. And the IBJJF utilized that. IBJJF, Gracie Barra is probably the biggest gym in the world. And it's just like so well tailored to coaches, just building these schools, mass members, and you can make really good money for teaching jiu-jitsu, right? Mm-hmm. But it's built upon the teaching aspect. And guys would compete in IBJJF because that accolade would give them more credentials for the gym they'd open eventually one day. And then it would be this, I would say it's like Gracie Barra and IBJJF. Like if you're a Gracie Barra student, your pathway to owning a really successful gym, you could just follow the Gracie Barra business model, or if you wanted to add some spice to it, those tournaments gave you an opportunity to build accolades where you could be like, my gym is a 2-time world champion gym. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it would be like competition would serve as a way to increase your membership base at your jiu-jitsu gym. But no one was really ever thinking that or planning for a time when competition could pay the bills or sponsors could pay the bills. So it was like, it's an unprofessional sport in that sense, because if you have to work another job or really like, you don't see football players and stuff teaching football to make money to play football. You know what I mean? It's like jiu-jitsu is this reversed thing. But then when there was this boom in like with Metamorphs, the first professional event, and guys started to make some real money and get some real sponsorships, then it started heading down into a sort of this professional lane, but it was still very, very small. Like it'd be like 2 or 3 people potentially making money off these events. Some of the guys would get really good kimono sponsorship deals, good by jiu-jitsu standards. Mm-hmm. But then I think there has been a boom in finances because of all the celebrities that started training, become that niche sport, became that new thing in jiu-jitsu. But it kind of circles me back to sort of why I didn't go with the UFC in the end, right? So like when I had meetings with the UFC, they understand this narrative agenda really, really well, right? And I remember their pitch was kind of like look at Charles Oliveira, one of the highest paid, one of the most beloved. It's not about winning or losing, because we're kind of discussing how hard it is to get 2 jiu-jitsu guys to face off against each other because they're so worried about losing. Yep. And he was trying, like obviously the UFC people were trying to tell me that no, like we want to build a league where winning and losing doesn't matter. It's just like if you're an exciting guy, we're going to keep putting you in. And I think there's a point to that. J-Rod at Flow Grappling, I think, I hate to bring it up, but I think he's 0-5. But J-Rod's one of the most exciting grapplers out there just within the WNO rule set. He's just faced, like they've put him up against the elite guys, right? But he's 0-5, but he's exciting. So people will tune in to watch. However, what they don't understand, what the UFC didn't understand, was that our primary source of income would be BJJ Fanatics instructionals.
Yep. If you keep fucking losing, then it's like, I'm not going to buy that instructor. He's getting his ass beat. I want to get my ass beat.
And that's like sort of like the dilemma, I think, with a guy like J-Rod, and where the problem is in the business model they're thinking is that they would have to pay us significantly more than, like, they would have to guarantee me a pretty damn good salary to the point that I would just go out and throw down like a Charles Oliveira, where it's like finish or get finished. If you could pay guys enough in grappling to do that, you would have a successful product. I just don't know how you make that transition because BJJ Fanatics pays infinitely more for me on a regular basis than these super fight organizations do. So it's like, I think it's really going to hold their business model back in that sense. I think they're going to have a lot of problems with that if they think that they're going to be able to pay guys. Like they even incentivize it where they're like, we'll pay you X to show, X to finish. And you're like, hey, this is like two people have to be in this dance. You know what I mean? It's very hard to finish someone that just wants to survive. Yeah. And there is a certain value in jiu-jitsu, even in selling instructionals, where if you're perceived here and you face a guy that's up here and you just don't get submitted, your value actually does increase a little bit. They're like, whoa, this guy couldn't submit him. But it's like, to get to pay guys enough that they're going to bang it out without any care in the world that it might affect their instructional sales is a pretty tough ask to do. And that's sort of like why I wanted to stick in the direction of understand the aspect of, we'll sign this exclusive deal. Yep. We'll have 4 or 5 guaranteed matches a year. That's great. That's consistent income, but you might actually be, and for example, at the last event, Kennedy went out and he won his match, but then Claudia gave a speech about going backstage and saying, hey, you weren't exciting enough to earn a title shot. And I already see the huge problem in that. Yep. In that it's like, if you're trying to get these guys to bang it out, there's a certain risk. It's like even if you're a better boxer and you're just in the pocket the entire time, you are going to get clipped eventually by someone that's maybe not as good as you. So it's like this balance of, they're trying to use this UFC model where it does work because a UFC fighter's main source of income is fighting. Is fighting. Yep. And it would also come from, like, if you're a guy like Oliveira, you're going to get really lucrative sponsorship deals. But in jiu-jitsu, if you're a guy that goes out and you have say you win 60% of the time, you lose 40% of the time, but you're always in exciting matches, well, then I don't know how they're going to compensate that guy well enough. He's not going to make as much money as someone that competes less, performs at a much better win rate, but he might be less exciting. He's going to make more money off instructionals because, again, no one's at home wanting to buy the most exciting fighter BJJ Fanatics instructional. Yeah. So I think that's where they're really limiting themselves. Whereas they think they're going to build these storylines about these guys. But I would say that given that since they've adopted our system, their finish rate's gone up, but there's a lot of mismatches. I think they're having trouble securing guys to these exclusive deals because the guys know what they want. And that's a further example of what Gedalia's speech to Kennedy is. I think that's like, you can't tell these guys. Yeah, he's in the background there.
Can it, baby? That's Craig Jones. He's a savior of jiu-jitsu. Can you say hello?
Hello.
No, I'm still working. Well, Daddy's working. Go out. I'll be out there in a little bit. Okay, go. Mom's gonna come get you. Go. Ha ha ha. Okay, 3, 2, 1. No, I agree with you because when I saw that post from Claudia, it pissed me off immediately because it's like, a lot of things are going on in mixed martial arts, mostly mixed martial arts, right? And when the UFC jumped into, jiu-jitsu, I was like, okay, I'm actually happy because now they have, a organization that has money and is offering exclusive contracts. And I know all about the exclusivity where it's like, hey, you know what? I think it's up for the athlete to sign it or not sign it, right? And if the athlete is happy with, hey, I'm going to get 20 to show, 20 to win. If I submit them, I'll get 20 to show. If I submit, I get another $20,000. I'll get guaranteed 3 matches a year. Okay, I'll probably make more doing that if I'm successful than trying to run around and do, this event, or even if those events are going to be around. And they're also drug testing, so there's nobody on steroids, right? I understand that.
I don't even think they have drug tested yet.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't believe so. I think that's just in the works.
Gotcha. So then hopefully they get it done, because that's one thing that Mikey said that he wanted in jiu-jitsu. He wants people to be tested. Everybody needs to be off steroids. If you're going to compete against somebody who's on steroids, he wants no steroids in jiu-jitsu. But when it comes to the way she said that, even though Kennedy won that match, I'm like, guys, is this a sport or is it entertainment, right? If I can go out there and move and pop, and it's not exciting and I just beat the #1 contender in the world, I don't give a fuck. I just beat you, right? It's like when I used to watch Mikey compete. At the beginning, I was like, dude, he's just going to go after legs the whole entire time. Legs. He would literally, I even told him in his face, I was like, Mikey, you're about to pass somebody's guard. And when you pass their guard, you literally just go back to the fucking feet. I'm like, Mikey, like, I've grappled you before. You've taken my back. You've submitted with arm triangles, arm bars. Use your jiu-jitsu. And he goes, I just like going for the feet. It's like, at some point in time, it's like you're leaving out half of the whole game of jiu-jitsu, but he keeps going back to the feet. And I'm like, Mikey, eventually that's gonna get boring. Like if somebody starts like, this guy keeps smelling that guy's feet, stop, like continue. It's a sport, right? So even though Mikey's beating everybody, it might not be as exciting as when Tackett fights, right? Because when Tackett fights, it's like he's just fucking you up. Like I can see his future in MMA because the way he just goes and grapples, he's gonna be suited well for MMA once he gets past the hands. But that really rubbed me the wrong way when I saw Claudia say that. I was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. You want him to win, and he was exciting. The guy didn't fucking tap, right? So I can see your point, and that's where, do you think the UFC coming into the sport of jiu-jitsu, do you think it's a bad thing or a good thing?
Do I think it's a bad thing? I don't know, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I think if the UFC come in and they have a monopoly. Yep. They control, they sign all the athletes, then they have all the leverage. You know what I mean? Like if they crush all the competition, you have nowhere else to go. What incentive do they have to pay you more? That's my concern with this. And it's like, I don't mind the UFC entering as another person in this field. Like obviously we have Flow Grappling, One Championship, UFC. And while those still exist, you can negotiate your contract very well. In terms of like the MMA world, right? Really like if we look at like Contender Series and stuff, it's like they've owned the sport that good. Their brand is that strong. Mm-hmm. It's like kids' lifelong dreams to be in the UFC champion. They've got such a stranglehold on it that they'll bypass better money elsewhere because the UFC's their dream, even if it doesn't pay anywhere near as good. Like, I mean, like the Contender Series contracts and stuff are absolutely abysmally low for what is actually happening on the level it's happening. The amount of work you've had to do to get there, and that's your entry level deal, I think is pretty brutal. So like when I look at that standard, I do hope that it wouldn't end up like that in jiu-jitsu. I think luckily with CJI, I kind of knew what was going to happen, right? Like I knew that when we did CJI 1, it was such a success. It got all those views. I knew people would copy it. I was hoping there would be a more lenient, a more free offer to be like, hey, obviously what you did's good. We would like you to run the UFC BJJ aspect. Like you've got a proven model. But instead they decided to emulate it and do it their own way and use exclusive contracts. I kind of knew early that was pretty much, that's the way they do business. So I really started getting ahead of CJI too early and started getting guys to get a contract down. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not going to force these guys to compete, but like I was trying to help them out by being like, hey, at least have something signed with us. That means that when the UFC comes at you with a deal, you can say, hey, I can sign your deal, but I've already agreed to do this event. We just wanted the opening. We're not I wouldn't consider us a UFC BJJ rival. Yeah. Who's number one is a rival. One Championship's a rival because they're trying to do the same thing. Yeah. Trying to provide a grappling platform where guys can compete regularly. What CJI is just like an event that's going to just try to grow these guys' names and also not just do that, but give them a massive opportunity to make money. So it's like for them to suddenly offer me a coaching role against Mikey for what I thought the money was terrible. So it's like, I was just like, what do you like? And it was so unorganized and just like an afterthought to them and conversations I'd had with them previous to that offer. There's people there that hate grappling. And I'm like, I really don't think their heart's in it. You know what I mean? Like if we look at Dana, is Dana going to be more invested in boxing or grappling? You know what I mean? Like I think grappling's it takes someone that really has to love the sport and care about the athletes and also understand the consequences of what could happen if a big entity like that entered a world of grappling. They could potentially kill it. Like I don't think the sport is at a level yet where someone's gonna, like the UFC's going to, like UFC's, they don't want to lose money on this.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if they don't start getting returns very fast, people are going to be kicked out, like spoken to negatively, like Claudia spoke to Kennedy. You know what I mean? Like I think truthfully, like I'm not sure where their heads are. I think they're having a lot of trouble signing guys. Like again, I love David Garmo, but he fought for the UFC BJJ 205-pound belt. I haven't checked the rankings, but he's not even top 10. I don't believe top 15. He's a great grappler, but like to have a title match between Mason and David Garmo, and I think Garmo's not even in the right weight division. He's significantly smaller. And I'm just like, is that hurting the UFC's brand to say that we're the premier martial arts organization in the world, but you don't have the best jiu-jitsu athletes?
Yeah.
I think they should have made their run at this way long ago. Now, one's got athletes, Flow's got athletes, and they're trying to like pick up the scraps and they try and sell you. this is the hardest sell ever. This is the craziest thing. I couldn't believe I was hearing this in meetings with these guys. They're like, the UFC brand, we're going to flash you on screen at a UFC broadcast. You're going to gain so much from us. It's just like, man, if you're talking about exposure, that doesn't sound like you're talking about paying me very much money. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like those sort of things really, really rub me the wrong way. So I'm just like, I would hope that these guys see what the ultimate goal is. Like obviously it could look like I'm a UFC hater because and I rightfully should be for copying the event, but like am primarily concerned with what they're going to do in this sort of area.
Well, it seems like after you're saying that, I think if athletes listen to this and hear how they spoke about like what Claudia said about Kennedy and all that stuff, I think it will scare athletes away. You know what I mean? Where it's like, whoa, hold up. Well, the way I make my money is through instructionals, that every month check. And you're telling me that I need to be excited, even though I win, you guys aren't going to bring me back. Now I'm like an exclusive contract. I feel like they're going to bury themselves, if that makes sense. Where it's like, if I was a grappler and they're treating other athletes like this, I mean, then people are going to say, you dumbass, you signed that contract to fight for the UFC, blah, 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 blah. But I feel like what you just explained to me feels like athletes are going to be like, nah, I don't want to be part of that company. And if they're having a hard time securing, they're not going to get a Mika. They're not going to get a Fabricio Andrade. They're not going to get, a Baby Shark. They're not going to get all these guys. They have Jalen Turner of the future, who's very, very, very good, But I feel when people sit here and listen and look at the landscape to see where the UFC BJJ goes, and you brought up a point, Dana is going to be, the producer, Michael, was like, he's promoted fucking Canelo versus Crawford. And he tells me, he goes, you should feel disrespect. I was like, one, I'm fucking retired. So I give two fucks who Dana, who he promotes. And then he has Power Slap. And then he has the UFC. And then they have UFC BJJ. So along those three, or those four big giant organization or events they're trying to do, where does UFC BJJ align, right? Is he passionate about it? Is it his heart and soul? And how long will they front the money? Because we're on the street. They're making a lot of money slap fighting. Are they making a lot of money at UFC BJJ? I mean, only time will tell what's going to happen with the UFC being inside of the entity of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, the way they're approaching it, they have to be committed for a long period of time to be able to pull this off. And it's a question of, do they care enough? I think they're quite proud, petty people, which I respect. Like even when I turned down their coaching role, I was with Jack Della for UFC Fight Week, and I was immediately not in the embedded anymore. You know what I mean? But I respect that level of petty, but I just don't know whether they have the patience. They do have the pride to keep it going in some capacity, but I think like we're probably at a crossroads with them now, right? So like they've put on their two events. I I know they're like live concurrent viewers for UFC BJJ 2 was only like 33,000, right? And then I won't make any claims, but it did skyrocket straight after the event. And generally speaking, like your live viewers should correlate to your total viewers in the end, right? So like this, it's a bit weird, but like I think they're at a crossroads where they need to invest more money to be able to sign these better athletes. Oh, yeah. And they're at this stage unwilling to do that. So it's like it's either going to require a bigger investment than they'd hoped for to get any sort of returns on this. But I don't think they're willing to do that. But I also think they're too prideful to walk away right now and say, nah, we're throwing in the towel. You know what I mean? Because like I would talk shit till the end of time. So I think they're like, they're dipping their toes in cautiously and seeing how it goes. But yeah, I mean, it's great to have the UFC want to enter grappling.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like they see value in it from a business perspective, but will it fit the business model they have? I got to be honest, I don't really think so. And I also think they're short-sighted, like discouraging athletes from doing CJI or blocking athletes from doing CJI. It's like, we're free on YouTube. We're once a year.
Yep.
It's an opportunity for your guys to prove themselves. Do they have the best roster in grappling? No. They don't have Mika. They don't have the Rotolos. So it's like...
It is what it is. Craig, before we let you go, we have a big debate going on. You versus Mikey, right? We have Mikey in the Mighty Cast. There's a lot of things he said, and you wanted to have a rebuttal against that. We're going to do it in Las Vegas. It would drop before CJI 2. What is the biggest thing you're hoping to get out of it? Right? Like between the conversation between you and Mikey, because for me, I understand Mikey's viewpoints. I understand your viewpoints. Now being an athlete outside of competing, I understand exclusive, the non-exclusive. I think, I feel jiu-jitsu guys are like MMA guys. We're all designed to hate each other. I want to make as much money. Like Tackett, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. They're offering me a nice little bag. I don't know what they're making. They're offering me a nice little bag. I can't do CJI 1, CJI 2. And I understand this, right? When you're in the UFC, you can do an appearance and make 20 G's just do an appearance. I've been there before. I was talking to my boy who's on the UFC roster. He's not even a champion. In UFC Fight Week, he made 20 G's for just doing appearances for the UFC. So I understand that power behind the machine that can push you, where it's like, I made 60 G's from just appearance with the UFC and I made 30,000 grappling. I'm taking that risk. Where a lot of guys are like, you know what, fuck that shit. I want to be able to go be Ryu and fight here and here and here. So, what do you hope to get out of this, debate with Mikey?
What do I hope to get out? I want to know what his intentions are, right? He talks about wanting to legitimize the sport of grappling through the UFC's branding. He wants to get rid of steroids in grappling, which again, UFC's not doing yet. And I just want to understand, because like to me, we're at a crossroads. And I want him to help me understand this. Right now, we as individual athletes have a ton of power by saying no to exclusive contracts. If the UFC wants to do a grappling event, they will sign one-off deals.
Yep.
They will do it. Like, I know there's some athletes that have even fought for their title on a one-off deal in grappling, and that would never happen in MMA.
Oh, God, no.
That would never, like, you can't even become, like the Francis Ngannou situation, you know what I mean? Like, we have an opportunity now where if we kind of hold the line, we're putting the onus on the UFC to meet us at our standards, because as it stands now, they've got good athletes. They've got an American targeted audience. They've secured very good American grapplers. But I want to know why Mikey sort of did that deal. You know what I mean? When it's like he's now he's endorsing these exclusive contracts that I don't think are a necessity. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to understand why he's doing that, because if I look at Mikey too, who did he face so if Mikey wants to face the best guys in the world, he's not doing that.
Yeah.
But now, my big problem is with these guys that sign with the UFC is that, like, now you will only face who's willing to sign with the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not face the best grapplers in the world. And if you want to prove that you're the number one, typically speaking in MMA, a lot of guys will say, oh, if you're the UFC champion, you're the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
If those other grapplers don't want to sign these exclusive deals, then you will be forced to face off against, like, I think the guy they had on the grappling reality show had never had a no-gi match.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what are you doing? Have you just sold out completely? It's just like, Mike, when was the last, like, and I'm saying this is a guy who fully understands and self-aware that I will take the easiest matches I think I can get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a different stage in my career. Whereas guys like Mikey and stuff, and like these dudes that are doing these deals with the UFC, why are you doing it? Are you selling out? I'm okay with selling out. Mm-hmm. Take the bag. But don't sit here and pretend that by signing with the UFC, you're the number one grappler in the world and you're going to face the best grapplers in the world.
Yeah.
Because now you're putting yourself in a situation where, again, you can only face who the UFC are willing to sign. And if you say, Mike, you probably took a fat payday for this contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to offer your opponent the same fat payday?
No.
No. They're investing in you. It's a selfish decision to make. It's a decision I turned down. Mm. Like, I don't expect everyone to be a martyr because my career's given me the position to be secure enough to say no to an offer like the UFC. But does he really understand what he's doing? It's like when they signed Fionn Davies. They signed arguably the best female grappler in the world. And my problem with Fionn, and again, is that she was always pro women's grappling as a whole. And I'm like, all right, if you want women's grappling to grow, I understand the mindset of attach yourself to the UFC.
Yep.
But for the other female competitors that are really, really good, that might get offered shit money, now the only opportunity they have to test themselves against you is to sign potentially a shitty contract. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I think you're sort of hamstringing the sport as a whole. I think we need events like CJI where the best face the best. And we need area where you can go to other organizations, you can shop your match offer. If you're about the money, you can shop that offer around and potentially get more money. I've helped guys sign with other organizations that are like, what do you think I should do here? Mm-hmm. And I'm legitimately trying to help these guys make more money for themselves rather than the promoter squeeze the athlete, trying to help these guys realize that we're not like MMA today.
Yep.
There's not just, I don't know, a monopoly over grappling. But by signing these exclusive deals, you're setting us on a path towards that territory where we'll have less power as a group of athletes.
I can't wait for that debate because you're right.
And I want to ask him about Derek Moneyberg. How much did Derek Moneyberg pay you, Mikey Musumeci? How much did he pay you to wear that t-shirt, man?
Oh, fuck.
You're against steroids. I'm against questionable black belts, mate. What's better for the sport?
Yeah. I mean, everything you said about the whole exclusivity, and I knew, like, that's the hardest thing. Like, depending on where you're at in your career, do you want to fight the best or not, right? And like you said, I always tell people, the best grapplers are at IBJJF. Like, you go in that fucking pool, you're fighting 6 people you don't even fucking know of, and you can get worked by a guy that nobody knows of, right? Like, I always tell people, like, there's always a bigger fish in the sea. He just hasn't been found yet, or you haven't had the chance to grapple against them, right? And I feel when you do have that exclusivity, you can handpick, okay, well, this guy is not that good. And like you said, the gentleman he fought, he never had a no-gi match. I knew that, right? Because I'm in this scene. But people at home, they don't know that, right? But since the UFC brand is so big, they can sell. They can be like, guys, look at this praying mantis. This praying mantis is the best praying mantis in the world. Little behold, it's not even a fucking praying mantis. It's like a fucking, I don't know, a ladybug. Their brand's so big that they can hypnotize you to think that this is the best product out there, right? So I can't wait to hear that discussion because you're right. If you're going to say, like, that guy's never...
I'm happy to sell out. Just own it. You can sell out. Just own it. Don't pretend it's something else. You know what I mean? Like, if it's the biggest payday, own it. You know what I mean? But you can't live in two worlds where you're saying, I'm chasing the best, doing what's good for the sport. And then you're like taking cash over here, which, again, how much did Derek Moneyberg pay you? Because I turned down his podcast. maybe allegedly for money. So it's like, I see these guys like, if you're going to say what's like, you're not a sellout, this is the right way to go for the sport. And then on the other hand, you're like, wow, this guy's one of the best black belts I've ever seen, despite what he looks like and that he wears socks on the mats. You know what I mean? It's like, Mikey, we're getting mixed signals here, mate. Come on.
Well, I will say this. I did do Derek Moneyberg's podcast. He did, you know.
Did you wear the t-shirt?
I don't know if I did or not. I don't think I'll have to go back and look, but he did ask me if I would train him. I said, I cannot train you because I'm busy doing my own thing. But I did do his podcast because I was a great fit to show people that consistency, hard work, being true to like what your path and goal is will bring you success, right? So that's why I did the podcast. But as far as like training him and all that stuff, as you've seen my death sentence training arc, I'm very passionate about training people, and you need to train fucking hard. I'm not going to, support like, when it comes to black belts, I have a different viewpoint where it's like, I've gone against blue belts. Granted, I've only been in the gi for about 3 years, right? Everything else, it's all been no gi. As you know, gi is a whole different fucking monster, right? So when I go to these tournaments, people think, oh, DJ's gonna, the public, he's a go to MMA, blah, blah, blah. I was like, guys, 3 years in a gi, at a black belt level, I'm gonna be fighting guys who've got their black belts when they're 18 fucking years old. From 18 to 38 years old, all that time, it's a different fucking game, right? I've gone against blue belts who've been competing, training since they're like 3 years old, give me a hard time in a gi because it's a different fucking ball game, right? Then I've gone with black belts who've had, 4 stripes and I worked them. It's just totally different ball game. So
what we should do is, if I'm planning to disappear and he vouches for Moneyberg's black belt, if you're about the legitimacy of the sport, and I know you are because you're anti-steroids, and you're about real black belts, then we'll do a pink slips match. You put Moneyberg on the line. I pick an opponent of what belt? What belt? What do you reckon? What do you reckon?
Are we doing gi or no gi?
We'll do a gi one, but
oh god, gi.
He has to take his socks off. That's my only request. So we're gonna make it fair. Most people aren't used to dealing with a guy with socks on, but we'll do a super fight. And then one of us has to disappear. I
think blue or purple. I think blue or purple belt. I think I feel comfortable saying that. Blue or purple belt.
I think that's a fair challenge, hey. He has to walk away from the UFC bag, but he still have the Moneyberg bag, so win-win for him.
All right, well, there we go. Well, boys, ladies and gentlemen, before we let you go, Craig, the floor is yours. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule promoting CJI 2. The floor is yours. How can people support you?
How can they support me? They can buy a ticket to CJI 2. Obviously, we're going to lose a lot of money, but we give all that money to charity anyway. Honestly, if you want to support me, we have the Fair Fight Foundation and we have Guardian program, which we work with. So like we've got a school opening in Peru in, I think, a week maybe. And they open jiu-jitsu schools around the world where kids are sort of disadvantaged, impoverished, and we offer them jiu-jitsu because it's a great way to teach them hard work, discipline, respect. But on top of that, gives them a safe escape from whatever their living conditions are. We give them English lessons, clean drinking water, and good quality food. So we have the first one, CJI 1, built one in Peru, and we went to Peru and this guy had already run an amazing program down there. So he'd reached capacity. So we decided to build a school for him down there and for the kids. And also, it's not just about just tossing money away. Included in that, we've built an Airbnb attached. So it'll be sort of a self-sufficient, a self-maintaining charity sort of program. I agree that it's difficult to just throw money away and keep spending money. So it's like we try to create a business down there. And this is a great surf city. Forgetting the name of it now. My memory's obviously not good, but we're trying to build these schools for kids. So that's the best way you can support me, is that sort of everything we do about this is we're trying to help jiu-jitsu even at that very level where people don't have the chances to be exposed to grappling at all.
I love it, man. Well, guys, you guys check out CJI 2 on a YouTube channel. B Team, I believe it's going to be on.
Should be, yeah, it'll be on B Team.
B Team 2-day event, August 30th and August 31st at the Thomas Mack Arena in Las Vegas. My black ass is going to be there.
Gabi Garcia.
No, I'm not facing her. You know what? There's a time
We're calling you out.
I'm going to tell you a story, okay? I'm going to tell you a story. This is true fucking story, right? So when CJI 1 was coming up, And I can't
Was this
remember.
that romantic night you had with her? Because she did tell me about that.
No, goddamn, it wasn't. It wasn't. All right. I can't remember who it was. I was talking to somebody, and then they're like, "You should do CJI 1." And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna fucking do it. So I called my wife. I called Destiny. I was like, hey babe, I think I'm gonna do CJI 1 because you text me. He's like, hey man, you should try it. Can I get you in the event? And I was literally contemplating like I'm doing it. And I was sitting there, and usually before I do anything in like martial arts, I always call my wife, and then I call Matt. I call Matt Hume. And I called my wife. I was like, babe, I think I'm gonna do CJI 1. Like I think it's gonna be dope. And she goes, and usually she always says that I don't do anything manly around the house because I'm very passive, I'm very chill or whatnot. So when I fight, I don't fight anymore. She loves it because she's like, I get to see your athletic ability come through. So I called her and I was like, I think I'm gonna do CJI 1. It's gonna be dope. It'll be in Vegas. I'll make 10 G's, but it's not about that, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, let's fucking do it. Like, I believe in you. Let's make it happen. And then I called Matt, and Matt was like, dude, you gotta realize you're going against the best fucking grapplers in the world, and they're gonna fuck you up. Like it's not gonna be. And I was like, and then it was like the heel hooks and all that stuff. I was like, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe if there was like a UFC edition, like old timers, where it's like, hey, you got like, you know, I don't know, fucking Joseph Benavidez, you know, Uriah, just all guys from my era that all compete in like no gi, but then I'm more of a gi guy, and it's like, I think I'll do that. But I almost did it, and I called my wife. I was like, hey babe, I don't think I'm gonna do CJI 1. She goes, you must have talked to Matt, huh? And I was like, I did. And she goes, that's
Matt, you buzzkill. You're killing us,
but
now.
Dude,
we're trying to make money for kids' charities,
dude,
man.
I grappled against Rotolo. Dude, it's not even a fucking competition. It's not even a joke, right? But
They're
you know,
tough bastards, yeah.
It is what it is. But hey, I'm here to support. I'll be there at CJI 2. We're gonna try to cover it. And Craig, I appreciate you taking the time. Make sure you guys go follow Craig Jones on his Instagram and on the YouTube channel to support CJI 2 and the Fair Fight Foundation. Support them as well. I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. That is the guest, Craig Jones. We will see you guys in the next episode of the Mighty Cast. Boom. Dude.
Sick.
That was amazing, man. I appreciate you so much. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Cast, and we are going to recap everything we just went through with our guest. And our guest was the savior of jiu-jitsu, Craig Jones. Now, guys, like I said in the episode, I am new to the grappling scene, meaning that I spent most of my career doing mixed martial arts, and after I got done doing MMA, I went into jiu-jitsu, and that's where you start to know what's going on and who this person is. And I was introduced by my professor to Craig Jones about all the skits he would do, and he was the guy out there saying that jiu-jitsu is gay. But besides all that, like, absolute amazing person to do CJI 1 and give athletes the opportunity to make $1 million for a tournament, and to not take any profits and put it right back in the Fair Fight Foundation cause and building a school in Peru and giving, you know, kids who don't have the opportunity to learn jiu-jitsu. And he's doing it again for CJI 2. What a banger skill, not skill set, but a banger setup where it's team versus team, 5v5, Royal Rumble style inside the pit. And then to hear his viewpoint on the whole exclusivity with the UFC and explain that. Because when Claudia Gadelia, when she said that about Kennedy Malfacini, I follow Kennedy. I follow him in IBJJF. And his no-gi stuff. And for them to say that he wasn't exciting, but he did win, and he's not going to get a title shot, this is where it becomes, is it a sport or entertainment? Could you imagine if the number one contender in boxing beat they have a contendership fight. You have number one facing number two. The winner's going to fight for the belt, but number two beat number one, but it was super fucking boring. Just absolutely fucking dog shit boring, but he won. And the promoter says, you're not fighting for the belt because that was absolutely boring. That kind of dictates that it's not a sport. It's more of a dictatorship where it's like, I dictate what you will do in this sport. And to see that side of Craig Jones, to hear how he wants to question Mikey and his legitimacy to jiu-jitsu, the growth of jiu-jitsu is going to be phenomenal when we do it here on the channel for the Mighty Debate.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about Craig Jones is he's almost like a Robin Hood type of vibe, you know, like a rebel with a cause. And I was a little bit of a hater at first on the CJI 2 format just because CJI 1 was so much fun. But after hearing him explain it, and I'm curious what you think about it, I have really come around just because that Royal Rumble format is just going to be so cool to see some of the matchups that can happen.
Yeah, and just the fact that some of the athletes that he's got, right? I mean, he's got Mika Gavoa. If you guys don't know who Mika Gavoa is, he's a fucking absolute monster. Fabricio Andrade, absolute monster. I believe Nicky Rod is in the tournament. I mean, the list just goes on at the athlete.
Like imagine Mika gets a big win, right? And he's facing off of B team, and then all of a sudden Nicky Rod comes down the aisle. I mean, that would just be so sick.
The fucking roof would fucking blow. And you know, I understand that you can't do events like this all the time, right? You can't have these mega events where you could have potentially a Nicky Rod versus a Mika Gavoa. You can't have that every single weekend, right? It's almost like I always love when Michael and Guru, I love mixed martial arts in the UFC, right? And not every pay-per-view is going to be a banger. Not every fight night is going to be a banger. It's just not realistic. It's like Marvel movies, right? Not every Marvel movie is going to be a banger. You can skip some of the Marvel movies where if you go back to the very beginning of Marvel where they had fucking Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, those were bangers. And now it's almost like I didn't even watch Captain America, the new one with the Red Hulk. I was like, that don't really care. I feel like that's how it is with the UFC. It's like this weekend you have a banger, and then you might not have a banger for 2 months. I'm okay with that. I'll go out to eat with the wife. I'll watch something else. I'll play video games. Where Michael and Guru, they get fucking pissed off. They're like, I'm tired of these shit pay-per-view cards. They can do whatever they want, but it is what it is. So, but for this event, you know, to get the opportunity to see a potential matchup like that, take my money. And it's going to be free on fucking YouTube. No paywall whatsoever. Not even a membership. They could do a membership for 99 cents and be able to give people the opportunity to watch it.
F it, we're giving it out for free. And I think the big matchup that I'm actually really interested in is Craig's matchup as well versus Gable, because, I mean, we saw what he did against Gabi Garcia. He did make it look pretty interesting, but Gable is a big dude, and he is a legit wrestler. So I'm curious what you think about that matchup going into it.
I mean, at the end of the day, wrestling and jiu-jitsu are two different monsters. All Craig Jones has to do is drop down to the leg and start attacking the heel hook and toe hold and knee bar, and I think that's going to be all she wrote. But no, Craig, he's going to let him get some time to fight in the fight. And don't get me wrong, the wrestling ability is something that Craig has to watch out for, but it's jiu-jitsu, right? So in wrestling, your whole job is to take somebody down and pin them to the ground and put them on their back. That's perfect for a jiu-jitsu guy because I want to be on the ground on my back so I can start elevating you, pushing your weight a different place, go underneath your legs, start attacking your knees. So I think it's gonna be a good match, but I think at the end of the day, I think everybody in the world knows that Craig Jones is a better grappler. But you know what? I think Gable doing this is bringing awareness to the sport of jiu-jitsu because wrestling is almost I feel like for wrestlers, the end game for wrestling is either mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu, because in wrestling, after you make it to such a high level, you win the Olympics. What else is there to do? Keep on wrestling? Okay, then you're going here try to wrestle. But you look at the best wrestlers in the world. They've all a lot of them transitioned into mixed martial arts, and they made money. You look at Triple C, Henry Cejudo, Olympic gold medalist. He's made way more money in wrestling. In mixed martial arts than he did in wrestling. You look at what's the guy's name? He beat up I can't remember the guy's name, but a lot of wrestlers come to jiu-jitsu in IBJJF and ADCC, and they do very, very, very well against the jiu-jitsu guys. So that's going to be an exciting matchup between Gable and Craig Jones. And then the debate. What do you hope to get out of the debate when you listen to Craig Jones and Mikey?
I mean, I'm just really, really excited because Mikey definitely, I feel like that's not the strongest platform for him to be doing. You know, like Craig is built for this type of thing. Yeah. Like he's a black belt in this type of humor, type of environment. So For me, I just think the biggest thing is just getting some funny moments, to get some funny clips. I don't think that they're going to solve jiu-jitsu by any means in this.
Yeah.
But I think the funny moments are going to be just endless in this thing.
Yeah. Well, I hope after we do the debate, I hope we can come away with something, right? To shine more light on, because like I said, I love Mike. I think he's great. I love Craig. That's the first time I ever talked to him, like eye to eye or whatnot. We've texted. But I truly believe they both have their own vision of how they both can fix jiu-jitsu. And I think if we get a more clear-cut understanding of them explaining themselves to each other and then them giving a rebuttal of why their plan isn't going to work, will be interesting for the fans to see, right? Because maybe Mikey has conviction of why he did sign the exclusivity, and he believes that there should be no steroids in jiu-jitsu, that they should be with an organization that has endless amounts of funds that's going to be able to support the journey. Because like Craig Jones says, they have to be in it for the long haul. Or Craig Jones can explain to him, was like, dude, you're not going against the best grappler. The guy you just grappled against never had a jiu-jitsu match, but you guys turned around and sold him as he's the best grappler in the world, right? It's like, it's going to be interesting. It's like when Warren Buffett says that everybody inside the ocean acts like they're partying, they're having a good time. Then once the tide recedes, you see they're all butt ass naked. You see everything underneath the sheets. And that could be what happens in this debate between Craig Jones versus Mikey Musumeci.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see, what's your mindset going into it? Because you're going to have to be the neutral moderator. You're going to have to keep these guys in line. So What's your mindset going into the debate?
My mindset after talking to Craig Jones, I went around and I asked a lot of the legends of the game who've been in the game a lot longer than Mikey and Craig Jones. And I asked them questions about what are some of the things that you want to see in today's jiu-jitsu, right? And I've asked those questions. And obviously, I asked Michael, the producer, what's his thoughts on jiu-jitsu, because I feel like you and Michael come from a different set of eyes than mine and Craig Jones and Mikey. Your eyes are from like the viewer standpoint, because you guys have just gotten into jiu-jitsu, but you guys have been lifelong fans of mixed martial arts and you understand how organizations work. So that's how I'm approaching it, and basically keeping everybody on task, and honestly approaching it like a presidential debate. Like, hey, do you think XYZ should happen in jiu-jitsu? And then I'll give those two their cases to, talk about the Derek Moneyberg and steroids in jiu-jitsu and what Mikey feels about Craig Jones and CJI too, and all that stuff, right? At the end of the day, I want them to be able to lay it out there and prove why their viewpoint of how jiu-jitsu should be ran essentially.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting. And then maybe, if things start going south, we could just have a mat in the background and settle it the old-fashioned way with you, the referee, or what?
Well, what I was going to do? You remember Dave Chappelle when they had, I think it was the first season, when he said, wrap it up, wrap that shit up, a wrap it up box? I was thinking about getting that because Mikey does like to go on a tangent and run away with stuff. So I was going to say, beep, wrap it up. But, I'm going to, I've never hosted a debate, so it'll be my first time, but I feel comfortable doing it because I'm passionate about both of their claims to fix jiu-jitsu, and I'm passionate about jiu-jitsu as well. So, but boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIKEYcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to know we go live, and do yourself a favor, go to B Team's YouTube channel and give them a follow, because they'll be streaming CJI 2, Craig Jones Invitational 2, on that YouTube channel for free. Give Craig Jones a follow. And also, if you can support the Fair Fight Foundation, please do. I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson. Our guest was Craig Jones. And the co-host today is Nick Pappas. He does all the stuff behind the scenes with Michael Wandover. So boys, hit the like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MIKEYcast.